Yeah, so it's it's different in all of them, right? So like I started my career in Department of Defense contractor, and we didn't use MDR, right? We kind of you know had it fully staffed, right, with like military and GS personnel, and then from there I was in financial services for 10 years, and there was a mix, right? My first financial services company said, hey, we don't want any kind of consultants or services companies having access to our critical data, or we don't want to rely on them to provide this service, right? We want to hire full-time staff and staff it out ourselves. And that worked for a little while when I think not every company needed a security staff. So like a lot of the experienced security people were available, and like we were able to staff it out like that. But eventually I think MDR and well, back then it wasn't even called MDR yet, but right, MSSP, and then what's now considered MDR, right? I think I started off with this, that it's really become commoditized now, right? It's like a commodity service. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have 6 or 8 or 10 full-time tier 1, 2 analysts in your company, and then have to get 24/7 coverage, you have like 3 people and 3 people, and then like 2 late night shift for whatever your time zone is, type of environment, right? Those people are going to kind of like get better at what they do, and then they're going to leave, and then you have to retrain all over again. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I think that over time, right, there's just been this commoditization. So like now, right, a company like a large finance company might still go the MDR route, but they might have a different requirement, right? So my next 2 finance companies had larger requirements. We had to go with larger companies that had a lot more options and capabilities. And I think that you're able to, if you're in that kind of scenario, you're able to also rely on a little bit of the regulations in the finance industry to say, like, these are things that we absolutely need. These are things that we have to do. So going back to like the box checking discussion, I think it's very harmful to like bring in a service just to say that you brought in a service. But I do think it's beneficial if you use that, right, and say like, okay, these are like 9 things that we absolutely must do. So now let's go out and price out, right, for the companies that could provide that service to us, and we think that they're a good fit. Like, what's the cost going to be? And then you kind of have to do that. I think that in my current position, right, I'm at a media company who, we take security very seriously here, all the way from the top down, but we don't have, these kind of like, finance regulations. We're not publicly traded. We don't have to, adhere to kind of like SOX and things like that. But we still model our programs after those things because we want to be, efficient. We want to be proactive. We want to have, best in class solutions. So we still try and meet all of those things anyways, because we want to protect any content that we have. We want to protect all of our personnel that work for the company, contractors, and anybody else's data that we might have. So I think that in each situation it's different, right? But in all of them, I think that, at the core of it, you have to have, no matter what company that you're in right now, every company is a technology company now, right? And I think that you have to have some core security capabilities. You have to have an identity management capability. You have to have some type of protective capabilities, firewalls, endpoint protection, those type of things, and visibility. And you have to have an operations capability with the ability to detect and respond to possible security events. And the majority of companies are going to achieve that last one through an MSSP/MDR service. And then the difference maker of what's going to drive you to choose one over the other are, I think that we've talked about it a lot today, right? The partnership with the people, the account execs, the technical leadership, right? Do they provide the services that complement your company's current technology stack and personnel and capabilities that you have? And then do they have a model that fits your need and your budget, whether it be an all-encompassing service, or whether it be something that's more of like a like a co-managed service, right? Where you have your own software and your team manages it, but also you rely on, you know, the MDR service to manage and monitor certain pieces of it, right? So there's, you know, different mixes. I think that in a larger, more mature company, in a finance industry, something like that, there's going to be a lot more hands on the systems and a lot more like senior analysts and SOC engineers and stuff like that versus, you know, some other companies. But I think that across all of them, right, there's a need for that service, and you know, you have to accomplish it somehow, or else, you know, you're kind of being negligent, I think, if you don't have that kind of service in place. And then you have to determine, do we want to staff it ourselves, which almost nobody's going to do these days, and then do we want to have it be a fully managed solution, a co-managed solution? And then in both of those scenarios, how do they complement our current personnel and our current tech stack? And I think that those combinations of things are going to drive you to the decision that you're going to make on who you're going to use.